Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news and news. We'll be talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, some would say, ridiculous comments after the game last night. But let's get into the big news. Bruno Fernandes transfer update. I know everybody's interested in that. But I want to just say first of all, and I'll stand up to say this, I was wrong. I got it wrong. It's probably better if my head's in it. I was wrong. I was told that Manchester United fans will not sing about the Glazers and Woodward in Old Trafford because they'll have their tickets took off them. Well, whether that's true or not, United fans sang about the Glazers and the Woodward yesterday, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I'll say this now. Look, I may say what I think sometimes, but I'll always admit when I'm wrong, and I'm happy to take it on the chin in a conversation way. I think violence is never the solution. The top red comment is about people who think they're better than people. It's not to do with any match-going fans, and people are taking that completely out of context. I've never said that. And what I would say is that Glazers out trending on Twitter like we had in the summer means it's a drop in a puddle compared to the wave of a tsunami that United fans singing at Old Trafford about them does. That is more impactful than anything. We're winning against Norwich, we're comfortable, and the Stretford end and other areas of Old Trafford start singing about the Glazers and Woodward. That is massively impactful. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to talk about it. And he said, Ole comes out and says, we're a family, we've got to stick together. I'm sorry, Ole, you're a legend. I love you. I want you to do well. I'm still curious about you, to be honest with you. But you are a legend and you will be no matter what. But you saying we've got to stick together and we're a family, trust is built up over years and it dissipates in seconds. That ownership and Ed Woodward do not deserve the trust of the United fan base. If they get Bruno Fernandes, it's a start. If they start to build something, we'll go with it. Everybody deserves a second chance, but they do not deserve our trust just because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says so. So I thought the singing was fantastic. I think our fan base is fantastic. And I think they sent a message far bigger than any social media can. People say, why don't the United Stand do anything? Well, I'm Glazers out. What does it do? Nothing. But people singing in the ground like that, that's the message. That's the message. And they will take notice. They'll take notice. And all we want them to do to take notice is to sell the club or to start putting money into the club and run the club like Liverpool are being run or City are being run. That's what we want, and that could be useful. But let's talk about Bruno Fernandes. Well, look, the latest with Bruno Fernandes is that Manchester United are in advanced talks. This is coming out from The Standard. The United are in advanced talks, but there is a concern that Sporting Lisbon are trying to get a bidding war and they're trying to get Spurs involved, which is always the concern with Mourinho being Portuguese. He's done this sort of thing before, and Spurs were interested last summer. The second thing Manchester Evening News is saying is that there is interest in Bruno Fernandes, but a lot of it is being blown up by the Portuguese media. They're pushing it, which is what we had in the summer. So I understand the trepidation and concerns. What have I always said? I've ridden it. I've ridden the Bruno Fernandes ship. But it's still on the ocean floor for me because it sunk in the summer, and I don't believe we're going to sign Bruno Fernandes until we hold the shirt up. As I said, for those people being positive, if this wasn't Bruno Fernandes, I'd be saying, yeah, it looks like 80% chance we're going to sign him. But because it's Bruno Fernandes, because it's the player I want, because I'm so desperate for us to sign this player, I won't believe it until we hold the shirt up. And also, you cannot trust Manchester United Football Club. You cannot trust them. Jose Mourinho wanted Ivan Perisic a few years ago because he was the player to put the ball into the box. He was the creator. Mourinho was adamant, we've got to get this deal done. We're in advanced talks with Perisic and Inter Milan, and we walk away because we don't want to pay an extra 5 or 10 million because we won't be held to ransom. And United will do that with Bruno Fernandes. They'll walk away if they feel it's too much money because they think that resonates. They think when they say we won't have, when Woodward does his bloody interview with that fanzine and says we won't be held to ransom, he thinks that we're all going to start cheering that. Don't give a shit, Ed. You not being held to ransom just means you're not going to, you want to keep some money back for yourself, for your profits and your shareholders. As fans, we don't care. We pay the money, we go to the game, we buy the merchandise, we buy the subscriptions, we support the team. Do not care what you spend. Don't care if you're held to ransom. Get the player we need. That's what we want. Do you think Real Madrid fans, PSG fans, Man City fans are sat there going, we won't be able to ransom? It's a stupid line that some fans think it's a call to action. It's nonsense. Get the money out. But this is what concerns me about it. We could just walk away from this deal. Sporting Lisbon manager has said that, look, we'll have to see what happens, basically. We've got a game against Benfica next Friday, and I'm planning to play Bruno in that. There's a lot of talk that it will be done tomorrow. Look, I don't know. I think we're going to get more and more talk about this, but I think we're now in that calm area, aren't we? You get the initial excitement of the deal, which we had on Friday night, and now I think we're moving into that uncertain area where fans start to get a little bit impatient and tetchy and think, oh, what's going on? But remember, this deal felt like might be a deal that United never do. The speed of it was like, oh, will this get announced tonight? Are we going to do something majorly efficient for the first time ever on a transfer that we don't really know anything about it, and in 24 hours he's a United player? No. We're lurching into what normally happens. We're lurching into that area that we're going to have to... This might not happen till the end of the month. And we might need to accept that, because this is Manchester United Football Club. And when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer backs this board and says, trust them, they're giving me money, we're part of a family. This is the problem, though. We are playing games now. We've got a game against Wolves on Wednesday that if Bruno Fernandes played in it would give us a better chance. If he plays against Anfield, we've got a better chance against Liverpool. But what are we going to do? Are we going to go down the Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, Dan James, Paul Pogba, every bloody else player that we buy route, where it takes weeks for us to get the deal done, but we know about it 3 or 4 weeks in advance? I mean, look, out of any signing United could do, this one will piss me off more than ever, because it's the one signing I want. But they're going to sap the joy out of it, aren't they? We're going to have weeks of, oh, are we going to get him? And then when we do sign him, we'll just know he's a player, but they've missed all of bloody January. This signing needs to get done. Stop trying to save a fiver and get it done. Just get it done. Stop worrying about spending 5 or 10 million more than you want to. Do it. Everybody in the fan base wants this signing done. Nobody's going to say in a year's time, well, we should not have spent 60 million on Bruno Fernandes. What a flop he is. Everyone will say, if he flops, well, to be fair, some transfers flop, it was well worth doing it. So just bloody do it. Stop thinking about your shareholders and your bloody holidays and your bonus, and get the signing done now. That's what needs to happen with Bruno Fernandes. We will see what happens. As I say, until he's holding up the shirt, I don't know. There's talk about people like Rojo, Angel Gomez, the goalkeeper Pereira being part of the deal. I would hope with Gomez that there's at least a buyback clause in it, or even better, a 2-year loan or something like that. But get this deal done, get it done, and let's move on, because we need it now. We desperately need him now. And people talk about Lukaku and what a mistake it was selling him. You look at the stats of Greenwood, Martial and Rashford, not just goals but assists as well. They're very good for a team that's shit. They imagine what they'd be in a team that actually creates chances. Like, their goals and assists this season, all right, they're not amazing, but they're very good for the time they've been on the pitch, and more important and more relevant for the team that they're playing for. So, look, we need to go and get this deal done ASAP. We need to get a better attack. And, you bring Bruno Fernandes in, you get Pogba back in, McTominay back in. We've got, lots of things to be excited about if we can get this deal done. But do I trust the club? No, I don't. And that brings me back to some of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's comments from yesterday, which I just find baffling. And I've got to say this as well. There's still a lot of people Ole out. There's a lot of people Ole in, and there's a lot of people still unsure. For me, I don't think long-term Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man for Manchester United, because at this moment in time, the only thing that's making me want to back him is Bruno Fernandes, because tactically I still think he's way off, and some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth are just, if he believes that, I'm really concerned. But if he signs Bruno Fernandes, as I said, I'll give him a backing, because I think it's the right signing, and I'll give him until the summer, or I'll give him till Christmas or whatever. Whereas at the moment, if he was sacked, I'd be like, well, you've only got yourself to blame. But this deal needs to be done. There's a lot of optimism around United and Ole at the moment, but if you take the Bruno Fernandes story away, we're still in the hangover of that Man City result going, what was he doing? So this Bruno Fernandes deal needs to happen for the positivity to surround Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And until that happens, I've got to be realistic and look at what's actually happening. And the point is, he's very happy. He's joking and laughing after winning last night. Brilliant. I'm happy with that. But some of the comments he made are just weird. They're downright weird. Norwich are shit. They're the worst. I wish we could play them every week. They're the worst team we've played twice this season. Carrow Road, awful. Yesterday, absolutely disgracefully bad. Like, Matic and Mata are man of the match. Now, I applaud them for that, but, we know they're on the decline, and they run a game and put in 8 and 9 performances out of 10. So, Norwich are terrible. But where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got it wrong for me, and look, him backing the Glazers and saying we're a family, and I heard the singing, and you've got to trust me, they back me. Well, they've got to build that trust, Ole. Your words, I'm sorry, are not enough. And you are a legend of this club. But I think if Sir Alex Ferguson himself came out on the pitch and said, trust me, you've got to back the Glazers, we wouldn't. Because it doesn't matter if you're the greatest man the club's ever had. We're not going to trust them. Because you can't just buy trust. You can't. You've got to do it over a longer period of time. And Woodward and the Glazers need to appreciate that. And Ollie and Sir Alex and anybody else telling us to back them need to appreciate that. We've had years of them taking the piss out of this club. And now, if they are truly going to change things, well, let's see you do it. Bruno Fernandes isn't enough. And two midfielders isn't enough. Two midfielders and an attacker's not enough. It needs to be consistent development of that squad, of that club as a whole. Start showing us we're a football team and not a business, which is what everybody says we are. So it's going to take a long time on that. But two of the comments that got me about Ollie really was that he spoke about the... he said, people are raving about the Liverpool reserve side that beat Everton. But my team I'm playing in the league is on average is a year younger. And I was like, what relevance is that? That's scoring. That's point scoring for idiots. You could write a book, Ollie. What relevance as Liverpool reserves who are playing because Klopp wants to rest his first team and doesn't care about the FA Cup, and they managed to beat Everton, who were just embarrassing? What relevance has a reserve Everton team's average age got to do with our Premier League 11's age being a little bit younger? I'll flip that around and say that exposes your problem, Ollie. So you're now saying that because our team is on average younger than Liverpool reserves, that's a tick in the box. Have you looked at the season, mate? We're massively inconsistent. And yeah, look, youth is going to be inconsistent. I agree with that. But the tactics are shit. The results are shit. We don't know what our philosophy is. So what's the tick in the box that we've got a young team that's inconsistent and badly coached? Like, any Premier League side that wins things through history and beyond and in Europe has a mixture of experienced leaders and youth players. So, you know, puffing out your chest and saying, look at my Premier League side, it's really, on average, it's really young. Again, I think the mainstream media feed into this, and us as fans sort of swallow it up. So what? Why does having an average young squad, an average age of a young squad matter? Like, everybody knows you need leaders. Gary Neville said it. You've said it. I've said it. So what if we've got a young team? It's nice to have young players coming through the youth setup, but you've got to have a mixture. So I don't know what he's getting at there. I think we're all meant to go, wow, we've got on average the youngest team in the Premier League. Tell me how many teams with a really, really young age win the Premier League. They don't. And if he's saying, well, we're going to grow into a team together, that's a load of bollocks as well. You can't have an average age of 21 and then when you all grow up together and have an average age of 25, you win the league. Because where's the leaders to nurture the leadership into them? This is the whole thing about if you go into a job tomorrow as an apprentice whatever, and you know, apprentice milkman, apprentice lawyer, apprentice gardener, apprentice dustbin man, apprentice whatever, just keep doing the job without someone telling you how to do it. Like if you're an apprentice builder tomorrow and they just say go and start building walls, if no one tells you how to do it, you'll find your own way of doing it, and eventually that'll be the way you do it, and it will be competent. But if you haven't got a master or a teacher to say this is how you do it, so that you learn how to do it, it doesn't matter if you're a builder at 20 and a builder at 30, you're still going to be not as good as you can be at 30 if you've not been nurtured. We need leaders in that team. So I didn't get that comment. And the second one, which a lot of people have been talking about, is that he spoke about the Man City game after the Norwich game and said, the fact that Man City came and played us with their strongest side shows that we're going places and shows that they respect us. So he's talking about a Man City drubbing after beating Norwich and trying to get us to believe that Man City game where we got smashed shows that we're going places and that they respect us. Man City were playing in a semi-final of a tournament that they've won for the last 2 years, so they do take it seriously for one. They didn't play their strong side because they were playing us. They're playing in a derby. They're playing at Old Trafford a month after they got an embarrassing loss. They've got a point to prove. And also, they didn't play their strongest side. Ederson didn't play. David Silva didn't play. Aguero didn't play. Gabriel Jesus didn't play. And we put out our strong side as well. So, I don't know what he's getting at there. It's like... And also, they could have been 6-0 up at half-time. So, we got absolutely smashed as well. It's like saying, after going into a boxing match against somebody who beats the shit out of you, wow, they may have beat the shit out of me, but they didn't come in pissed with a blindfold on and two arms tied behind the back, so they must respect us. I know they battered us, but at least they did it with their, in a professional way. I don't know where that's going. I think, again, he was trying to spin a positive on something that maybe just back off and don't say anything about it. So, look, end of the day, you've got to talk about it because it's being spoken about. For me, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets Bruno Fernandes in, it's a reset button. It might not be a reset button for everybody, but it's a reset button for me. That signing is so significant. That player is so significant for what we need. And I believe that that player will massively improve us, even with the manager that we've got. What happens beyond there, and it's a big if we get the deal done, if we sign him, I think we will improve. Will we improve enough, or will it just be an elongation of the inevitable sacking of Ollie and his crap coaches? I don't know. And I say that because it's blunt. I don't like saying it. I think a lot of his coaches are nice people. Some of them are legends of the club. But at this point, on January the 12th, 2020, if you're saying to me, "Oh, you're being a bit harsh saying his coaching's crap," I'm sorry. I'm looking at evidence. It's crap. Doesn't mean it can't become good. Doesn't mean that this big vision that we're always sold, that things are going on behind the scenes, you've got to trust him, it's going to get better. Great. I'll always come back to this day and say, at that point, I was right to say the coaching in first year had been crap. If it goes on to be a dynasty, great. We'll remember this shit time. But don't come at me and say, if we're winning a Premier League title in 3 years, oh, look what you said about Ollie 3 years ago. I'll say, I said it because it was right at the time. Nobody knew what the philosophy was. Nobody knew what our style of play was. Nobody knew where the club was going. And fair play, he had a vision. And fair play, the club gave him more time than he probably deserved. And now we've reaped the benefits. But at this moment in time, I will say this. It's nowhere near where it should be. I don't know what the coaching's all about. I think it's poor. I think the tactics are bad. I'm not convinced that, oh, wow, we've beaten Norwich, who are the shittest team I've seen all season. But get Bruno Fernandes in. Reset button. Let's see what happens. The club want positivity. Ollie wants positivity. They want backing. They want the fans to back them. There's the opportunity. There's the door. Open it. It's called Bruno Fernandes. You open that door, you've reset the button. Whether you deserve a reset button or not, I don't care. I'm walking through that door. I want it to happen. Let's see if they'll do it. Until he holds the shirt up, I don't know. We're back again at 8 o'clock tonight live, of course, unless something else happens today. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Get in the comments, how confident are you that United are going to do this deal? But we are where we are with it. And I honestly, until he holds the shirt up, I won't believe it. I know this club. They'll do the whole we won't be held to ransom crap. They'll leak it out. We didn't want to pay ridiculous money just to try and save face. But it won't work this time. Got to get this deal done. You cannot allow there to be this much noise around a player that the fans want and not get the player. It's got to get done. My fear is it's just going to roll on for weeks because we're going to negotiate every bloody pound. Let's see. Thanks for watching. Speak to you later.